Hi, my name's John.
And I'm Allie.
And when we finished Season 2 of Fruits Basket,
we thought it would be a fun idea to look back at Season 1
and talk about all the cool details that we may have missed from an anime only
and a manga reader's perspective.
So join us today as we talk about Season 1, Episode 5, I've Been Fooling Myself. Welcome back to another episode of our Fruits Basket podcast. So if you like this kind of content, we would really appreciate it if you helped us to reach our goal of 7,500 subscribers by the end of the year. And to do that, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and why even ring that notification bell so you never miss another upload. Because we're going to be looking at the rest of Season 1 of Fruits Basket as a retrospective. So if you have not watched Season 2 yet, make sure to click off this video now because there will be spoilers. But with all that out of the way, where are we starting?
Okay, first of all, I have to give a huge thank you to one of our Discord members, Kat. Kat drew Tohru being a cat burglar. I said that as like a passing joke. I didn't think someone would actually do it in our last podcast. Oh my god, Kat did it.
And it's so good. It's so good. Oh my gosh, Jinx.
You want me to soda? Anyways, but thank you, Kat. Holy crap. I'm gonna put up the drawing and then I'm also gonna have Kat's Twitter handle because holy hecky, this is so good.
It's so good. That'll be in the description down below. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Oh my god. Major props.
If you draw any of the like dumb stuff we say,
like, it's going in.
Yes, thank you. You deserve the world. This is so good. And also join our Discord community because holy crap, they're amazing.
Yes. Delightful people. But
yes.
Episode 5.
Yeah, let's go into it.
So it starts out and we see Tohru talking to Shigure and the Somas, and she's talking about the renovations on her grandpa's house are done. And it's a very somber scene.
Yeah.
Like,
jeez. I mean, like, Yuki's face, he's just full
so
on gasp. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's getting all of their kind of affairs in order. She's like handing over her new address to them. It's so sad. And then she remembers that she needs to go cook and she runs into the kitchen and she's not okay.
It was intense. The first thing I thought of, because I kind of forgot how this scene went, the first thing that I thought of was you see her reflection in the teapot, like the tea kettle, and it's all distorted and warped because like that's how reflections work when it's on a curved surface. But it immediately made me think, oh my gosh, it's like her distortion of her brain. Like she's not doing well right now. She's questioning things.
Yeah, like her entire reality, because she's not been in a stable situation since the death of her mother. Mm-hmm. And so she's been very on her own, even though technically she was with her grandfather for a period of time, she's just been trying to find some semblance of footing while she is still coping with all of these intense feelings of grief, even though we haven't seen that to like a significant degree yet. We definitely saw it in the first episode, like hinted at, but other than that, she really hasn't shown just how the death of her mother is still profoundly like messing her up yet. Mm-hmm. Now she's at the Soma house and she's found some semblance of normalcy, and suddenly that rug is being pulled out from under her too. I feel like I like what you said, that distortion, like who am I, where am I, just like very jarred.
And immediately it brings her back to when her mom was with her and they lived in that apartment. And it was that tea kettle, like that was the trigger of the distortion. That was what set this whole thing off. And also just her being upset about not really having any stability at all.
It feels as though, like when she flashed back to her mom, and I know that the show did this intentionally, I couldn't tell if she was like hallucinating in that moment or if it was a flashback because it happened so suddenly.
Yeah, the transition was just so fluid that it felt like now she was living in this world again.
Yeah.
And then when the tea kettle started screaming and it got her out of that mental state, she still replied to her mother in like the present tense. Like, thanks, Mom. I'll keep that in mind kind of thing. Like, thanks, Mom, for helping me.
She's not okay.
Yeah.
And I love how subtly they hint at it because it seems kind of innocuous, this early on in the series, just how, like, she loved her mom, and so she thinks about her a lot, and that's, like, cute, and it's just, like, a Tohruism, like, she loves her mom. Mm-hmm. But it's, in reality, what the show isn't telling us, it's just kind of alluding to, is just how she has not processed any of her grief to a meaningful capacity yet. She's just kind of shoved it down and kind of tried to truck forward without sorting through any of this stuff, and it just slips out anytime something drastic happens. Like, she almost loses the picture of her mom in a landslide, or she has to transition back to her family home after finding this normalcy with the Somas. It's super interesting.
Yeah, and like I said in episode 1, when you start this series, you think, oh, cute, happy shoujo, and it's going to be centered around Tohru, and all of the episodes are going to start or end with her talking to her mom, and it's kind of like a diary entry, and it's just her telling her mom what she was up to. Wow, that's so sweet. And you don't think, oh, wait, this is actually going to get really psychological and really dark and deep, and we're going to deal with the grief of her maybe not really letting go of her mom and dealing with that death. So yeah, you think it starts one way and it just takes a very psychological, interesting turn.
Yeah, this is not as told by Ginger, which, if you recognize that reference, like, you're a real one. But as the story keeps kind of trucking forward, we hear kind of her mother, or the memory of her mother, tell her it's okay to be selfish sometimes, which kind of turns into a big kind of theme of the show. Mm-hmm. I think Tohru says, anything's better than living in a tent, which, not wrong.
I mean, true. She said that she learned how to deal with the slugs, but I'm kind of doubting that.
Yeah, how do you really learn to deal with slugs?
I don't really want to wake up next to slugs.
No.
But I think both of our next note is sad kitty, because
he's so sad.
He is so sad. Kyo.
Because he's finally, like, I know Kazuma accepts him, but, like, he's finally finding someone outside of, like, his circumstance that just, like, genuinely likes him and accepts him for who he is. And I know it's happening slowly but steadily, but, like, oh my god.
But then after that, we get, you know, Shigure talking, saying, like, I half expected you to stop her. He knows what's going on behind the scenes the entire time. Yeah. And I think he knows exactly how this whole situation is going to unfold. I'm nearly positive he knew that. He said goodbye for now. Yeah.
It's like, he knew that she was going to be back sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Because, I imagine he's already plotting in his head how he's going to use Tohru for his own benefit within this whole 4D chess game that he's playing in terms of the Zodiac Curse. See, this is like a pivotal moment for him, seeing what Yuki and Kyo do when she leaves. Mm-hmm.
Can they put their differences aside to decide, like, oh, we need to go get Tohru?
Yeah, exactly. I wrote that exact thing. When they're talking, Kyo agrees with Yuki civilly. Mm-hmm. Like, it's like a civil discussion. Like, he calls him a rat or whatever. But they come to a conclusion that they're both sad about this situation. Mm-hmm. Which is one of the only times it happens in the series. Like, putting aside their differences and their disdain for each other, like, in order to help Tohru. Which I don't think that's going to be an isolated thing. We see that the only time that they work together is for Tohru's benefit. I think as the plot ramps up in season 3, there's going to be a huge event, probably, where they have to do that, and that's going to be the linchpin of them, like, completely putting aside their differences to come together and kind of break down this barrier between them that's been so entrenched in them, you know?
Okay.
And I think Tohru is still going to be the linchpin of that. Like, maybe she's in trouble because Akito's trying to kill her or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, just easy stuff.
You know, same old.
It's another day.
Yeah.
But then when Tohru goes up to go pack, we get a little bit of a flashback, and also the origin of the Fruits Basket title, where that comes from in the story. There's a game where all of the different kids sit in a circle. Someone is deciding who each person is as a fruit, like you're a strawberry, you're a grape, whatever. And Tohru is the rice ball. She is not a part of the Fruits Basket, therefore she does not belong, because a rice ball doesn't belong in a Fruits Basket.
Which is so cute that she's like stoked about it.
Yeah, she was like, oh, yummy.
And I like that she still uses the rice ball as like a positive analogy.
Mm-hmm.
Like even to this day, like she gave that positive analogy to Kyo with like the plum.
Oh yeah, you have a theory. Yeah, let's hear it.
So the very loud, outspoken kid was pointing at everyone and assigning them their fruit, and picks on Tohru and calls her the rice ball. Who else do we know that's kind of loud and outspoken and kind of a jerk, but probably not intentionally, probably because he thinks it's funny? I think...
Oh, Hero?
Well, true, but like the age, it doesn't fit.
I'm kidding.
It's none other than Kakeru Manabe. We know that he knows Tohru somehow. Tohru's kind of like spacey, so she probably doesn't even remember that it was Kakeru. I think it's totally Kakeru that called her a rice ball, and that's how he knows who she is. Oh my god. If this is Kakeru, and Kakeru Manabe was freaking dangled in front of me this early, without me knowing who he was, woof.
Woof.
This is the worst part about going back through season 1, is the distinct lack of Kakeru Manabe. Like, it's great, I love it, don't get me wrong, but there's a profound, there's like a hole in my heart.
I'm sorry. We'll fix it.
Yeah, we'll get there.
We'll get to season 3 one day. Just a little bit. But okay, so you think that's Kakeru Manabe.
100%.
Respectable.
100%.
We'll not tell you if you're right or wrong. No spoilers. Okay, so then after that, we get a real cute sad memories compilation.
So precious.
Yeah, where Yuki and Kyo both get their own little individual time to be sad over missing Tohru. And this, it really makes you sad when you rewatch it after season 2.
It's such a mood. Like, it gets me emotional. Like, I think even the first time I watched it, like, it got me emotional. It's just like, guys, it's been 4 episodes. You can't make me sad yet.
Mm-hmm. And then after that little bit, we get the first half of the situation with Tohru moving in and everything. And then later we get the second half, which is from Kyo and Yuki's perspective.
Yeah, so we get it from 2 different perspectives, just like a JRPG.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that fun?
You.
Oh. So from Tohru's perspective, she moves in. She has a cousin who is very unhappy to share a room with her. Immediately welcomed. And when she's called downstairs, she's informed that a private detective was looking into her situation living with a single man and, like, other boys.
Which, I've gotta wonder, did this private detective know she was living in a tent? Like, when was this person hired?
I don't know. I feel like it had to have been kind of recent.
That's so skeevy. You can actually see someone with a camera in every episode in the back.
Oh my god.
That would be really funny. That'd be a funny detail.
I'm just saying the private detective isn't that good if literally they walked out of the house, turned into animals in one episode with the, delivery guy there?
Yeah.
And the private
multiple
detective.
Times.
Yeah, they have turned into animals outside of their home multiple times, and this private detective doesn't know crap.
Or he's just really good at keeping secrets. He's not being paid to share that.
He's not being paid to share that part. So he's just like, I'm gonna keep this to myself.
Or he thinks he's crazy.
That too.
Like,
I want a new series about the private detective. Never mind. Okay, anyways.
Fruits Basket PI.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's 2 episodes because
He's only been around for a little bit.
But it turns into him researching the Soma family. And it's like a crime drama.
Okay, so anyways, their whole reasoning behind getting the private detective was because Kyoko apparently had very violent tendencies because she used to be in a gang.
They're not wrong.
They're not wrong. But she said that might have been passed down to Tohru, and then, next thing you know, they're asking if she did anything indecent with the boys.
Which, oh my god.
What a question.
What a question. The way they asked it was so profoundly awful. But, checking in with her circumstance isn't the worst thing to, do in that situation. But the way that they did it was so disrespectful and so awful, especially when it clearly appears that she had a very positive experience. Obviously, checking in with her well-being, very important. Making sure that everything's good, very important. And, I support the idea of it, But, the way, gross.
Yeah, because instead of being like, Tohru, you didn't inform anyone in the family that you would be living alone with a bunch of men that we've never heard of before. Mm-hmm. Are you okay? What is going on? Did you need help with something? We thought you were going to go stay with your friends. Mm-hmm. Are you safe? Yeah. Did anything happen to you? Please let us know when you are comfortable. That would have been fine. That would have been the sign of a good family. But instead they're like, don't hurt my son's chance at being a police officer.
Yeah, by doing indecent thing with random woodsmen.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's they are deplorable.
I mean, to quote the grandpa, they're terribly unpleasant people.
Yeah. Oh.
He gives them a good old slap. There is one really interesting thing from this, though, is that the grandpa, he is the only person who is focusing on the good parts of Kyoko, despite the entire family. I guess that's his daughter? I don't know. But the mother and then the two cousins from his side of the family, all just absolutely hating Kyoko. And Grandpa has a great view of her, and he's saying that his son Katsuya, who's Tohru's dad, that he had always said Kyoko needed a place to spread her wings, and he's equating that to current Tohru, and it's just such a nice way. You could see it really got to Tohru, and it made her feel good about her decisions.
Yeah. And I don't know, even in that flashback scene where it shows Katsuya and Kyoko, mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
She just looks so happy and peppy. Her hair's weird, but
I mean, yeah.
But hair changes, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. That's so cool. But I know we've talked about this before, mm-hmm. but why? I need to know why he calls Tohru Kyoko. Is it the memory of Kyoko, who's someone he thinks very highly of, mm-hmm. Lives on in Tohru, or
It could be a number of things.
Yeah.
So.
Because I don't think it's intentional that he's just Kyoko. I don't think he knows her name is Tohru.
Oh, you don't think he knows? Okay.
I think he does, but it's not it's not cognizant that he's calling her Kyoko, because he's such a nice, well-meaning individual that I feel he would realize that could be negatively impactful on Tohru's mental state. So after he describes them as unpleasant people, he tells her that putting up with things doesn't really suit you, Kyoko, which, as we know, is something that seems likely to be true of the actual Kyoko,
mm-hmm.
and is something very true of Tohru. And then we flash to the boys. I think we can essentially skim over a fair amount of this,
mm-hmm.
pretty much saying that Yuki was definitely very upset. I think that the main notable point within this kind of interaction between Yuki and Kyo when they're trying to decide whether they should go after Tohru or not is when Kyo starts projecting his experience and his feelings onto Tohru, because he starts acting like her family is treating her like she's disposable, which we know that her grandpa doesn't do. And he doesn't know anything about the rest of her family. Like,
yeah, not that we know of.
Yeah, unless she's mentioned it off camera, but as long as, like, what we've seen in their interactions, he doesn't really know anything about them. Nor do I think that Tohru would talk badly of them, even if she did discuss them.
Exactly. The only way he could have information about that is if Kyoko had told him when he was younger, or if he's projecting, or both. Why not both?
Yeah. And so maybe he's, oh, that's very true. Like, that interaction with Kyoko, which we know, like, has shaped him to some capacity, because even later in the episode, if we're just going to put this all into one, he said exactly what Kyoko said to Tohru, that it's okay to be selfish sometimes. So really drawing those parallels between him and Kyoko even early on, because, and we know that they had a distinct relationship. If he knows how that family operates already, because he would know her around the time or a little bit after Katsuya died, so they likely weren't too kind to her after the death of Katsuya, or too welcoming, and probably treated her and Tohru as disposable. And so with that knowledge, he's either projecting, like how he's treated as disposable within the Zodiac, which I think is part of it, but also that he knows more than he should about Tohru's situation, or more than he's willing to let on.
Ooh, I love the parallels between Kyo and Tohru, and how they're both, like, low-key treated as disposable because of Kyo being the cat in the Zodiac, where, like, that doesn't really fit, and then Tohru being this person who isn't cursed, surrounded by people who are cursed, which that doesn't fit, and then Tohru being the rice ball in a fruits basket, where it's just layers on layers on layers, and it's so good.
Oh, so good. But, yeah, so that all happens. Kyo and Yuki go, they get her. Yuki dives in through the window and is smooth as heck.
Heck yeah.
And, yeah.
It's just beautiful.
It's just beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. We get Kyo grabbing Toru's head, which this is not a head bonk. I've been dissecting the head bonks. I like all of your theories that you left in the comments on the last video. Much appreciated. I will keep them in mind as I continue to craft a theory. I have read a theory already. I think it was on Tumblr. But I just want to, like, go through every single time Kyo touches Toru's head, and I need to know what it means.
Yeah.
So, like, keep the theories coming. If I find the one that I found on Tumblr, I'll link it in, like, a spoiler comment down below. But I'm gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna figure out the head bonks.
We're gonna figure it out. But I just want to backpedal for a second, because I skipped over the best quote, and I think this is the quote that made me fall in love with Yuki.
Yes.
This, so good, when they're just lurking outside the window, and Kyo's just ready to barge in, like, immediately. Which, like, very Kyo. Yuki says that the important thing here isn't what we want, it's what Miss Honda wants. Which, go Yuki, because that's so true. It's so respectful, and it shows just how good of an environment she is, and it really draws a stark, like, line between, okay, here are the Hondas and how they treat her. Here are the Somas and how they treat her. Because it's all about the Hondas and, like, oh, my son needs to go into police academy. You better not mess this up for him. Whereas for the Somas, it's like, what does she want? Yeah. And I think that that's so cool and such a, like, a healthy mindset to have, especially from Yuki, who she, as we learn, becomes like a maternal figure. And so him already kind of illustrating just how much he cares about what is good for her is so, I don't know, it's just so, this is why I like Yuki so much. Like, he really showed his, like, oh,
Yeah.
He showed his stuff in this episode.
And it's so interesting to see it from both of their perspectives, because Yuki takes more of a I put you on a pedestal type of approach. Like, let me know what you want. Let me know how you feel. Like, I really respect you. I look up to you, and I want to know that things are going well for you kind of approach. Whereas Kyo is taking more of a partner approach, where he's like, I'm already in your brain. We already share a brain cell. I know that this isn't good for you, and I want to help you because this isn't where you're supposed to be. I think that you're, like, whether it's projecting or not, I think they're treating you as being disposable. This isn't good. Let me rescue you. They both want to rescue her, but they have such different approaches to it, and I love that. Because neither of them are technically wrong.
Yeah.
But it's just the way that you view it in that moment with all of the context.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's really, and it continues to show just how different each of their relationship with Tohru is. But both of them are very important to each of their individual characters and how they are going to, it helps continue to set the trajectory of all of their characters within the relationships that they're forming in the show. So interesting and so good. And then we see Kyo just being a big old softy, saying like, why did I feel so on edge when you left the house earlier?
Yeah.
And it's just like, ooh, it's 'cause you catching feelings, boy.
Yeah, you are. And that's so cute because later in season 2, episode 9 or whatever it was, when he ends up admitting that he has feelings for Tohru, he ends up saying like, when did it start? Oh my gosh, like, I don't know when it happened. And it like almost bothers him that it started at some point.
Yeah.
Oh,
there was.
Just trace it right back.
There was. Maybe a little bit earlier, TBH, but like.
Yeah. And he goes on to say, being selfish sometimes, it's no big deal. You can be selfish every once in a while, and next time, just ask.
Yeah.
Just good.
Yeah, which, like we already mentioned, that's exactly what Kyoko told her, and she even hears Kyoko's voice back in her head, which is so delightful. And at the end, she finally has a place to belong again, since her mother. Like, even though it doesn't fill the void, and we know that it doesn't fill the void, like, it helps mediate some of the negative feelings, and she finally feels wanted again. And she's finally picked, like, the rice ball is finally picked from the fruits basket. Because, like, they actively chose her. They actively sought her out, found her, and brought her back with them. Which is so nice. Yeah.
And it's a different relationship than she has with Hanajima and Utani. Because, yes, those are her friends, but she chose them. And, like, she convinced them to end up being friends with her, and they have a beautiful relationship, and their friendship is so pure and so wholesome and wonderful. But it's different because she didn't want to bother them by staying at their houses. And that's why she ended up staying in a tent, right? Whereas she was chosen by Yuki and Kyo. They came, they got her, and she felt like she was a bother, but they said, no, we want you to be selfish.
Yeah.
And it's just so different and so beautiful and wonderful, and all the different types of friendships are being explored.
Yeah. And then they get back to the house, and Shigure's like, unsurprised, you captured the princess. And Yuki gets all flustered, because he broke down, apparently, which, like, low-key, kinda, yeah.
Yuki showing emotion, can't have that.
No. It's the first actual emotional outbreak. Or, it's the first actual emotional outburst that we see from him, I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Like, usually he's pretty calm, cool, and collected. Like, we've seen him sad and stuff like that, but not, like, flustered like this. So, ooh.
Flustered boy.
Yeah.
And then, once again, we see Kyo get attacked first. So I'm gonna keep bringing that up too. Kyo did not throw any punches. Sure, he has some fighting words, but Yuki gave him a good old kick.
Yeah, good old kick. Also, I don't know. I think that this is really interesting. Kyo always goes for punches. Yuki always goes for kicks, which a punch versus a kick's always gonna win because leg span is longer than arm span.
Thank you.
I don't know. I think that's interesting.
It is pretty interesting.
Because, like, of course, Kyo's never gonna land a hit. Like, Yuki always, like, kicks him in the face before he gets there.
Mhm.
Like, there's no way. So, Kyo is just kind of like inflexible right now with how he fights.
Whoa, that's such a good word for Kyo.
Yeah. So even just in the simple act of trying to fight him, he's inflexible in adapting to Yuki's fighting style, which is kick him in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Kyo's arm is never going to be longer than Yuki's leg. Especially when they're anime long boys.
Yeah, those anime long legs, they're gonna get you.
Yeah. But is there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Nope, all good. Thanks again to Kat for drawing. Oh my gosh, I'll never get over it.
No, yeah, that was so good. So good. But that'll do for today's podcast, guys. So if you like this kind of content, you want to see more of it coming from the show, make sure to like the video, subscribe, and why not even ring that notification bell so you never miss another upload. And we would appreciate it so much if you helped us get to 7,500 subscribers by the end of the year. But as always, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, a fantastic rest of your week, and why not even a fantastic rest of your month. And we will see you in the next video. Later.
See ya.